So let's see, it's about 1:02. I'm a stickler about starting on time, so we're just going to get started. And so for those that don't know me, I'm Donna Castillo. I'm out of the San Jose office. I was a corporate marketing exec for probably 25 plus years of my life, not to age me. And I've been a real estate agent about 4 years now and absolutely loving it. And I found that a lot of the skills that I had in corporate marketing easily translated over to real estate. So it's working really well and I'm passionate about it and I absolutely love it. And so thank you, Laura, for giving me the opportunity to teach from moving from E to P, which is something that I'm personally passionate about. I need to shut off my phone. I'm sorry, because this is such a distraction. And so, yeah, so I'm really excited about that. So, I've always looked at, I've worked in corporations, so I really understand the professional side of it or the corporate side of it. And as I'm a realtor, I'm really enjoying the entrepreneurship and then moving over to that professional or corporate side of the business and really see my business grow and being all that I can be. Right, Laura?
Yeah. Hey, and I'm going to go ahead and put in the chat right now the student manual for those that do not have it.
Oh, thank you, because I can't do chat when I'm sharing.
Yeah. And then I'll be exiting. And so if more people join you, somebody else might need to drop it in there again, but I'm going to put a PDF in right now. Okay.
Great. And if I can stop sharing and repost it and go up. There's Renee.
Awesome.
Hey, Renee.
So Alex, if you're going to be with us, did you get the manual? You see the PDF?
Yeah.
If you don't mind sharing it again in like 10 minutes or whatever, if more people jump on, you know how to do it?
It's pretty much copy all right there, file.
Yeah. And then you just share it. So there you go. You guys have the manual.
I'm feeling the pressure. Renee's here. Renee.
Oh. May said that, oh, there's, okay, she's got it now.
Okay,
is
great.
that, okay.
You're muted.
I'm glad I made it.
Hey, I'm glad too. Thanks for joining.
I don't think it's the link we get every day in the morning. I don't think that link works. So maybe one of you want to post it on, 3 groups, Facebook page.
So May, that's a Santa Cruz, talk to Jesse about that. Whatever's happening with the link is something to talk to Jesse about for Santa Cruz. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh my goodness, I'm bummed. I hope it's not that. Well, no, I hope it's that because then I'd have more people, I guess. I don't know which way to look at it. So here we are, moving from E to P. I think from our staff meeting this morning too, I actually added a couple slides, Laura, just because of our conversation and our staff meeting today. So we'll get started. There we go. Moving from E to P is really getting purposeful and not just letting things happen. So we're going to watch a video that's going to be, it's Brenda Brinson, and she's going to talk how her business has changed and how she became purposeful. And in my business personally, that's something that I really worked really hard on with Laura and also with my coach, my MAPS coach, which made me go, I had an aha moment when I started working on this because I realized I had ADD. I never realized that I had ADD. So getting the meds, and which allowed me to focus more, which allowed me to be more purposeful. And I think that's why this year my business has really changed and is starting to grow. So this from E to B and being purposeful, it's really what's going to be a game changer for anybody that really takes this seriously. So let's
Donna, say what E to P means again.
From being an entrepreneur to professional.
Entrepreneurial to purposeful.
Oh, I'm sorry, purposeful. But I see professional because that's what you want to be at the end, but purposeful, yes. So let's watch this video real quick.
Hi, I'm Brenda Benson, and I've experienced moving from E to P, entrepreneurial to purposeful. And I want to share a personal story with you about how that happened in my own career. As I entered the real estate field, I began to lead generate. And in my lead generation process, I just kind of winged it. That's what I call E. I was not purposeful. I lead generated when it was convenient. I lead generated when I was around familiar faces. I lead generated when I was in a familiar environment. And guess what? My results reflected the haphazardness of that lead generation. When I became purposeful, my results showed that purposefulness. As I looked to pick up the phone and make those calls, and I blocked time for my lead generation, my appointments went up. When my appointments went up, my actual results reflected those appointments. So I know in my own life, just through lead generating and knowing when I was in E versus when I was in P, that my results were different when I became a purposeful lead generator. And I know that can happen for you. So let me share with you 5 quick concepts that really helped me move from E to P. Number 1, focus. Focus on that 20%. Number 2, create strategies and action items that will support you staying in that focused 20%. Number 3, follow the model. The next item would be to install and implement the systems. Implement systems that support the model. And finally, number 5, be accountable. Make sure that you're tracking and you're looking at, as I was, the entrepreneurial piece versus the purposeful piece. So if you are willing to embrace these 5 quick concepts that I just shared with you, your world can change just like mine has. Are you willing to move from entrepreneurial to purposeful?
Wow, that was good. What you guys think? Okay. Everybody's on mute. I need feedback. No, that was a great video. She says purposeful. I was in a corporate environment, so for me is really being that professional, right? So when you're in a corporate environment, everything has to be purposeful, and it's just bringing that into my career now. That professionalism is really being purposeful. So I kind of use those words back and forth, but it really means the same thing for me personally. But it's really being purposeful. And I love the way she talked about, the focus, the strategies, following the model, systems, and being accountable, because this is really how you're going to grow your business and really move from E to P and being purposeful. So she talked about focus, writing your goals. I think that's already been done in an earlier session, if I'm not mistaken. And then focus on that 20%. And does everybody know when they say focus on the 20%, what do they mean by that? You don't want to focus on the 80, you want to focus on that 20, because 20% of your efforts bring 80% of the business, right? So staying in that 20%, focusing right there, what's going to get you business, that's where you need to be to really move from E to P. And that's being purposeful too, not just letting things happen as they come along. And then finding strategic options. How can this be done? Are there better ways to do it? And that's pretty broad. For me, when I have those questions, always refer back to the MREA book, because there are going to be ways to do things. And Gary Keller's probably already outlined it for you. It's there for you. And I think that's probably one of the earlier mistakes that I made myself was, how can things be different? How can things be better, right? So, every vendor comes after us when you become a realtor, and they want, Zillow wants to sell you leads, or they want to sell you cards for your farm. And you sign up for all these things, which is really not being purposeful. Is really going back to what were your goals, focusing on the 20%, and then how you're going to get it done, and looking at your MREA, and it's going to be part of your strategies, which we talk about in a second, right? And then attending training that teaches you how to get where you want to go. Oh my God. So there's no better company than Keller Williams when it comes to training. If there's a topic about real estate in any way, shape, or form, you go to Connect and you do a search, and I tell you, it's going to be there. What do you think, Renee, right? I mean, there's, no, I mean, if you can't find it, you ask your coach, like Renee in our office in San Jose, your personal coach or your team leader. There is classes on absolutely everything. So that's another way to be very purposeful. And Keller Williams as a company offers those tools for you. And then identify the mentors and people who have done it, right? So you have Renee in our office, and you coach in Santa Cruz as well, Renee? Or is it just San Jose? Or you
Santa
coach?
Cruz and San Jose, and yeah, and one in Campbell.
Wow. Okay, so there you go. Talk to Renee. Then we also, I'm a mentor as well in our office, but find those mentors. And I also have a MAPS coach. And that's really important. So, you know, if you look at really successful people within real estate or outside of the real estate industry, you're going to find that they not only have business coaches, but a lot of people have life coaches as well, to make sure that they're focusing on that 20%. So they are moving from E to P and being successful, right? So, you know, every aspect in your life almost nowadays, you can get a coach. And I think it's really important to get one in real estate, especially when you're newer. For me, the MAPS coach, I don't ever see myself ending that. I'll always have that to make sure that I'm growing and taking my business to the next level. And so step 4 is installing systems, time block. What do we always say? If it's not on your calendar, it doesn't exist. This one I've had a problem with. This one's really hard for me. I get distracted. Remember, I have ADD. So I get super distracted, even though I close the door in my home office. You know, my family comes, sneaks in and, gee, mom, I'm hungry, or whatever it is. And I'm distracted. So it's really, if it's not on your calendar, it doesn't exist, and really protecting that time. So, you know, sometimes it's better for me to just go into the office, close the door, and make calls versus doing it from home. So once again, that's me being purposeful. How am I going to get the most out of that time block? So I'm really purposeful, talking to the right people, and going on the right appointments. Another one that's really important is script practice. Script practice. So I go to one, and that's 7:30 in the morning every morning. It's offered through Cyberbackers, and it's free, and it's open to any Keller Williams person that wants to participate in. And I absolutely love it. Not only do I get to practice my scripts, but I also listen to other people's responses, because we do script practice. And there is little nuggets of information that you grab from other realtors that you can use as well. So that's absolutely wonderful. And then Renee offers it as well at 8:30 for those that she coaches. And, you know, if you don't want to participate in those, get a script partner. But, you know, try to, if you can't practice daily, look in the, you know, with somebody, look in the mirror and practice, record yourself, listen to yourself, but practice. That's
If we're not practicing with each other, who are we practicing on?
yeah, exactly. We're practicing on our clients or potential clients, right? And that's a really fast way to lose, you know, a $25,000 commission on $1 million house, right? Especially in this area. And then creating checklists. There's resources everywhere. There's standard checklists, and as you go through it, customize it for your business. But create checklists to make sure that you're staying on target, you're staying on task, and once again, focusing on that 20%. If I don't have a checklist, let me tell you, the shiny object takes me away, and I go down that rat hole in a fast second, right? So it's really creating your checklist and sticking to it. And if you have things that that you feel that you do in addition to, then add it to that checklist. So it's just automated. So you're not thinking about it, just doing it, getting it done. And then make sure that you have systems, and then you work consistently and efficiently. Hello, we have Command, the best tool, right? I mean, they've systemized almost everything for us. We just got to go in and start using it. So make sure as a new agent that you're uploading all your contacts, you know, and you start developing those systems and creating those systems within Command, the tool, and the tool is always improving. So please, Command is probably one of the best tools. And you can create your checklist also within Command, right? And so it's there electronically, you know, you're not in front of your desk. You don't have to have a piece of paper in your hand. It's there for you. So, and if you have something better than Command, let me know, but I'm telling you, Command's really good. I used a CRM system called Salesforce. I would never, I mean, I wish I had Command versus Salesforce as my CRM system. So easy to use, so user friendly. So if you haven't had a chance to use Command, please do. You'll love it. And then we go to step 5 is bring in accountability. Measure what you do. Measure, measure, measure. So with my coach, I need to talk to 50 people a week, and I track it. So, you know, Mondays is my phone calls. I leave a message. If I talk to the live person, I track it. On Wednesdays, I follow up. If they don't answer the phone, you know, I don't leave a message on Wednesday. And on Friday, if they don't answer, I'll leave them a message and I'll say, you know, sorry that I wasn't able to make contact with you this week. I really have some great information to share with you. If you have the opportunity, please give me a call back, right? That's part of the DTD2 system. So really measuring what you do. So that's how I measure my phone calls, measure your how many appointments you get from those phone calls, how many listing appointments you go on, how many new buyers you're working with, everything you measure and is going to help you grow your business. Because let's say if it takes me 100 phone calls to get a listing appointment and I'm short this month on listings, guess what? I know that if I make 100 phone calls, I'm going to get a new listing because I've been tracking that and I know how many phone calls it takes for me to get a listing. So really important to track absolutely everything you do, because the more you measure, the more that you can adjust your activity so that you're focusing on that 20%, right? Going back to number 1, it's going to help you grow your business and move from E to P. Keeping track of your 411 and your actual goal worksheet, huge. So I know that I wanted 10 listings by June 26th for my, I work in 12-week years, right? So in my next 12 weeks ends on June 26th. It's a little bit different than monthly or quarterly. I do it every 12 weeks. I wanted 10 listings by June 26th. And right in front of me, I count down, I do 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I write down the address. So it's a visual in front of me all the time. And I know I'm very competitive. So for me to know that I haven't gotten to 1 yet is absolutely killing me. So then I go back to, you know, what works best for me. What works best for me is calling my sphere. And I know I'm gonna get to my 10 by June 26th, right? Because I know that if I'm calling my sphere and I'm focused and working on my 20%, I'm gonna reach that goal. And so I hope everybody can get to that point. And then having an accountability partner, for me, it's my coach that I meet with every week. So, you know, we go through everything that I measured for the week, that I do my script practice. How many phone calls did you make? How many listings are you at as of today? If I'm short on listing, then, kick it up a notch to make sure that I meet my goal by June 26th. So if you don't have a coach, find an accountability partner within the office that you can work with. And please feel free to chime in if you have any questions or comments or what's really working for you. Would be great to share with the team. Feel free. And then so here on this slide, they have a customizable checklist that you can just download. So, I mean, that's how easy Keller Williams makes it for you, which, I've been Kellerized, so I believe it and it's working. And so any questions so far? You guys are too easy. This is not going to last, an hour and a half. Nothing? Okay. So I had some additional thoughts. So after we had our office meeting this morning, I wanted to share this with you. To attain your goals and sit at a higher level, to move to that P. We talked about the 4 models that you're going to find in the MRA book. It's the economic, right? Your lead gen, budget. That's where I am right now. I'm really working on the budget model. I've hired a bookkeeper. I want to do a monthly P&L. I am working on my net worth sheet. I'm actually developing a relationship with my money, which means that me and my significant other, once a week, we talk about where we are financially. We want to invest in rental property, so we're looking at that. I want a new motorcycle, so we need to talk about that too, and how does that fit into the budget? So I'm selling my bike that I have right now, but all that happens because I do have a relationship with my money, and I am having those discussions. That was really foreign to me. I grew up, like, I'm a typical Hispanic, I'm Puerto Rican. So I grew up, you're not supposed to worry about your money. Your husband does that. You just, you get married, you have kids, you clean house, and you die. You don't have a career. You don't, what do you mean you purchased a home without a husband? That's what my mom said to me when I bought my first house, but I did it on my own. They never taught me anything about finances. You know, my grandmother's way of saving money was pinning it inside of a handkerchief inside her bra, right? So if you needed money, she'd bring it out and she'd go, here me out, and don't tell anybody I got, you know, money there. And my mom does the same thing, you know, got to go through her closet when she passes away, because I know there's probably $10,000 in the house that's not in the bank. So for me, the budget part and the financial part has been super difficult for me, but I'm really working on it. I did find a bookkeeper that only works with Keller Williams agents, so he understands everything that's in our MRA book. So all of my P&L looks like exactly like the book, right? So that's where I'm getting to. And I'm working with a new tax person and just, you know, getting that going. Organizational, because I have been doing that 20% and focusing a lot more. I had to get a virtual assistant first, which is what's in the MRA book. I just got a buyer specialist, and I do have an admin, a part-time admin. And then now that my significant other has retired, he's my runner. So he's been running around and doing things for me as well. So I wanted to give you guys a little bit of what I'm doing to move my business from E to P and being purposeful. And then another thing, if no comments, anybody, everybody grew up like me, you know, no financial, like, you know, Roth IRA. It's like, what? I mean,
Well, I am Turkish, and Turkish culture, Portuguese culture, and Spanish cultures, Italian cultures, they are very close to each other. Greek culture, they are very close to each other. And you are right. I grew up with the grandparents because I have a divorced parents.
Mhm.
Grandmother, yes, exactly. You say money in the bra, and we always get our allowances from grandmother and grandfather, and always just a very little, just right enough to get 2 scoops of the ice cream
Right,
from ice
exactly.
cream stores. And I did work before with a paycheck before I got married. And then I got married, had a child, and for 10 years, I have been housewife. I'm very introvert. And everybody knows me in Santa Cruz as a mother and wife of Mark. I don't have my identity as a May or Carl. So now I'm trying to build that. You know, like try to put my word out over there, you know, like I'm a real estate agent, I do business. What I do for it? Not much, because I am too shy. Even making a Facebook post about a real estate market, you know, how is the market, how many sold, how much it's sold. Even that very simple thing brings me an anxiety,
Oh, I'm sorry.
because that very small thing is really big step for me. Because look back up, all of my posts are family, husband, kid, you know, school related stuff. And now that's me moving to purposeful, you know, just making business posts. And Elaine is awesome. She's posting once a month calendar for Facebook posts, right? Keller Williams has. I look at that, and every month, every beginning of the month, I tell myself, I'm going to keep up with this. And I don't. Just like even making once a week, how is market post is giving me a heartbeat.
Right, right.
And so trying to break that, that's my comment. I'm very new. I'm only year and a half old in this business. I did close some escrows. Renee is my coach. She knows tons about me. But last 5
May,
months, I
May,
don't have
May,
anything.
the question though was about your financials and that, so,
I don't have financial. I have
okay. And you weren't taught about finances growing up. I wasn't taught about
Yeah,
finances
at all.
growing up.
Zero. So even
Although
like
when I was in fifth, starting in fifth grade, I worked in the fields. Yes, I worked in the fields.
Mhm.
And the money I earned in the summer had to be used to buy my school clothes.
I asked for an allowance because all of my friends got an allowance, and my parents were like, why do you need an allowance? You get everything you want, which is kind of carries over to like, you know, once I leave that house, then you have a husband to take care of you, right? And that didn't happen for me at all. Zero. Hence, I bought a house on my own. So that's why that whole budget part of it is really important to me. And for you, May, just know that if you are uncomfortable, that's actually a great place to be because that's where you're going to grow. And so you have to learn to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. And so when you're uncomfortable doing a post, and do it every day until it's okay, right? And that's how you get used to it. But it's not easy. So if you ever want to talk about it, we could talk about it offline. But I totally get what you're saying. And then the organizational. So then I had one more thing. So then, what is a professional? So I said professional, purposeful. Remember, I come from corporate. So when you look at, I worked at Adobe, Cisco, you go into those companies and it's very organizational, right? So they're a corporation. When you start getting, having more than a couple of transactions in your closing escrow, I think, Renee, you said it well earlier, you're going to make all this money, but guess what? You got to pay the tax man, you have to pay the bills, there's things you have to pay, right? And so going back to the finance part. So, you have to decide once you start having more than a couple of transactions, you're really a business, right? So do you want to be a corporation? Do you want to be an LLC? Do you want to be a sole proprietorship? Start thinking about those things, because if you're going to continue to be purposeful, focusing on that 20%, your business is just going to continue to grow, and you don't want to give 100% over to the tax man because you're not taking advantage of things that you can't take advantage of to kind of reduce your tax exposure. And so maybe that's something that you need to look at. Having a relationship with your money, right? Manage your finances. I have a bookkeeper looking at your P&L on a monthly basis. And these are all things of being professional or purposeful. That's where you want to grow. This is how you're going to grow your business. And then also, I was marketing, so I had to talk about marketing, right? How you branding yourself as a top realtor. You branded a URL. Do you have an email that matches your URL? Do you have a website? All those things. You're hosting and participating in events. And so just remember, like, as you become purposeful, these are things that you need to be purposeful as well, and really to grow and just hit it out of the park, right? So those are just some things that I've had to pay attention to as I started to grow my business. And really, any aha moments. So see, I'm going to give you back time to time block and prospect. Any aha moments? Because this one's a short one. It's a short one, but it's because it's jam-packed. Because if you're going to do if we go back to this slide, the focus part, we're not going to be sharing our goals, but I'll say my goal is to close 40 transactions by the end of the year, and not really by October, because I would love to not do a lot during November, December, right? And so that's my goal. And so I'm focusing my 20% on meeting that goal. And I want to be, at least half at 50% of my goal by June 26th. So by 20, I want to have 20 by then.
Donna, one of the things you're talking about too, and it just hit me about the going from E to P. I'm a slow learner. It only took me about 40 years to figure this out. 30, well, 25. We'll give it 25. I don't think I started using Quicken or QuickBooks until probably about 3 or 4 years ago. And the idea that the money, I use it, the analogy I use is that when you don't have a separate account, you don't treat your money as a business income. It's like someone who's a store manager or someone who owns a store at the end of the day, just taking the money out of the cash register and going home, forgetting about the fact that they have to pay rent, they've got overhead and all that.
Right.
So it took me a long time to do that. It took me a long time to incorporate. I'm an S Corp, which means that I'm protected in some way. I don't know. I still haven't figured that out.
I'm an LLC and I don't know why either. So
yeah. And I pay myself a salary. I pay myself every 2 weeks. I, sat down with my accountant and I asked him what would be a fair amount. And he said 60,000 a year. So every 2 weeks I use paychecks, and every 2 weeks I have a check cut to me based on $2,500. They take the taxes out, they take everything out, and then I get something going in. So that for me was going from entrepreneur to a little purposeful.
Absolutely.
The one thing that you they don't have a slide for, because I know you would have mentioned it if they had a slide for it,
Which
is
one?
that you don't go to E to P only one time.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
will go to E to P, like right now, I went to E to P and, I'm a little more purposeful. I'm going to hit another ceiling. And then when I hit that ceiling, I'm going to have to back off, look at what I need to change to break through that ceiling. So
Absolutely.
it's not a one and done.
And you know what? And it never is, right? So, I'll just use Adobe. When John and Chuck created Photoshop, that was just one, right? And now look at the company that they've created. And so, Gary Keller, right? I'm sure he didn't start off with this company that he has right now. And so that's what I hope every one of us can do. We have the tools available to us. There's absolutely no reason for any of us to not have the success that
But
we
one of the
want to
things
have.
he did at the very beginning, sorry to interrupt,
No.
he always answered the phone, Keller Williams International.
Mhm.
He had a little podinky office in Austin, Keller Williams International, because he was thinking into the future. And anyway,
Well, and that's right. So, you could buy a phone number and you could answer your phone and say, let me get Donna on the phone for you.
mhm,
It's really that simple, be as large as you want to be. And it's going to make, and it's what you focus on expands, or you just got to do it, right? I mean, all those little things, like you said, Keller Williams International, right? How important is
mhm.
that for somebody who calls me, um, from Palo Alto, let's say, that wants to list their $10 million house? Would they feel more comfortable thinking that I have this huge team behind me, which I do, not necessarily, they're not my team, but I have my Keller Williams team behind me, and make them feel like they have that as part of the team that's going to put their house on the market. They're going to feel more secure with me. They might pick me to represent them versus somebody else because we do something like that. So I am working on that phone thing. And, even though I have an info at Donna Castillo and email addresses, they really all just go to me. But, but it just makes me look like I'm more than just me on the team. Well, I do have a buyer now, so a buyer specialist now. So that's a great point, Renee. And yeah.
And we have a saying in Turkish, if you say same thing 40 times, it becomes truth.
I agree. And you know what? And one of the things that's really made a difference for me too, when I'm working on listing presentations, even though almost all of my presentations are with people that I know already, I still treat them like somebody I don't know. They still get a professional listing presentation and a CMA and all that. And the script practice is invaluable. And I can't tell you, I didn't think it was it feels weird. Doesn't sound like me. Well, it's because you're not practicing enough. That's why it doesn't sound like you. So being a part of the script practice, it's good. It's huge. And it just allows you to have a great answer when they give you an objection, right? Today we were practicing, I don't want to sign in front of my house. So how do you convince, something simple like that's happening all the time. And then we script practice around that. What
So you
that
really don't
fit.
want to sell your house.
Right. Yeah. But you know what? I get it now. I get that. I've gotten that a couple times lately. So it was a really good topic to practice. And I listened to a couple people and I wrote down some of the things they said. And we practiced it for a half hour this morning. Any comments? Anything else? I think measuring is huge. Measure. You guys are quiet. I like this. I don't know if I like it. We're good. We understand. We understand the focus, strategies, models. And I'll give you another thing too. I look for really successful agents outside of our market, New York, other areas, see what they're doing, see if they're doing anything different than what we might be doing here locally. It's usually just a little bit different than what we're doing. I haven't found somebody who just blows my socks off, but I do research other agents to see what they're doing and how they're doing it and what kind of teams they have and do they really have a team and things like that. So it's another
So
thing.
you're saying flying by the seat of your pants is not a plan.
No, I've done that.
So have I.
It's not good. It's not, is not a good way to really grow. You'll get by probably, right? In this market, but the minute the market type changes, you're going to be, that 80%. It's going to be really hard to stay in the business. So really focus on that 20%. So when the market changes, because it's not going to be like this forever. It's not going to be like this forever. And so when it changes, you got to be ready. And that's because your scripts, your time blocking, it takes 100 phone calls to get a new listing. It takes, 10 houses to get a buyer in contract, whatever it is. You got to understand that. So when the market shifts, you're good. So good. So, oh my God, I gave you guys like an hour, almost an hour back. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm here. I'd be glad to help anybody. If you have any questions, feel free. Alex, I'll be at the office in a little bit. And if we're good, we're good. So I'm going to see everybody go from E to P now, right? I got the names. I'll be watching you.
Yep.
Okay.
Hey, Donna, I have a question for you.
Okay, Linda.
So you were saying your goal is 40 transactions, 40 closed transactions. Does that mean you make time for 4,000 phone calls? And do you have your team do a lot of the other things for you?
I have a virtual assistant that takes a lot of the administrative stuff away from me, a lot of it. So that was a blessing in itself through Spear Rockets. I think I shared that information for you. And then the buyers was taking up way too much time for me. So, and I had enough where I could keep somebody almost pretty busy right now. So I brought on a buyer specialist, and then I got a part-time admin to help me as well. And so that allows me to be on the phone, like 4,000 phone calls. Yeah. And it's not just phone calls. So I did an open house. I talked to 10 people, 10 groups that day on a Saturday. So I tracked those 10 conversations,
right?
My 50, right? So now I had to do 40. And what I didn't do yesterday, I do today. So today I haven't prospected. So after I get off this phone call, I got to be in the office for a little bit, but I got to get on the phone. And with my Sphere, I tried all the other stuff, but my business really does come from my Sphere or friends of my Sphere. So I'm really, really focusing on that. I tried buying leads and yeah, it doesn't work for me.
Well, and what people forget and is that, when people say lead generation, number one, when you say lead generation, people automatically think I love it. The first thing out of their mouth, I don't want a cold call. I'm not asking you to cold call. I'm asking you to call your friends and family. And then when you talk about lead generation, Gary always says it should be 3 hours a day, right? How long are open houses?
3 hours.
3 hours.
Guess what? That's prospecting, You go door knocking, that's prospecting. So, don't get wrapped up in the fact that it's got to be on the phone for the 3 hours or, whatever. It can be a variety of things. You go to a mixer, we're starting to open up, you go to a networking thing from the chamber or something. When you get there, you say, okay, I'm going to talk to 5 people that I don't know, and we're going to talk about what they do. And then I'm going to happen to mention what I do. Lead generation. May's got her hand up.
Go ahead,
I
May.
want to ask a question. Can we do door knocking now?
Yeah, as of today. Oh,
Yeah.
the shy one wants to go door knocking. That's funny.
Yes, Zach, one of the gentlemen from the Gateway office asked Mike, and they said, as of today, we can go door knocking and we can hand out flyers. So,
and it doesn't have to be a phone call. So guess what? So I did one of the Gene Rivers classes, and he was like, right now, send a text to 10 people on your phone and say, are you willing to sell your house to one of our clients? I got 3 responses. Guess what? That 50 went down 3, right? And I interacted with them and I did a phone call later. And it was something as simple as that text. Or I did one of the emails. It was one of his scripts, and I didn't change a damn thing. It was exactly what he said. I had my VA create the email. It went out through command, and guess what? I got responses to it. And once they start responding, I'm having a contact with them and I track it, right? So it's, it doesn't have to be phone calls, even though I enjoy that too. The problem is that they're also my friends and they keep me on the phone too long. So sometimes it's just easier to do an email, send out that text message.
Can we leave our flyers into their mailboxes if nobody's at home for door knocking?
What is,
You cannot put a flyer or anything into a mailbox.
you're not mail. You can put it under the, the mat a little bit.
How about, like sometimes garage doors has a little, like thingy you put stuff in?
You're not mail. It's illegal. You're not mail.
Okay,
Yeah, if you're gonna put it inside of a slot, you better have a stamp on it,
okay.
right? But really, the idea is for you to talk to people, right? So, if you're gonna door
Door
knock,
knocking, yes, face to face.
and actually door knock, wait for
part.
the person, don't knock and then take off running. So just, you gotta stay, and door knocking is not one of my favorite things. So I'll just admit that. I don't like door knocking. But I'll go to
I
an
never
event
tried
and
it.
talk to
I was
everybody.
just putting all my encouragement, I was mentally ready. I did the flyers and then I got sick week. It was home. I think I had Corona back then. And then shutdown happened. So I never experienced door knocking, but I was mentally so ready to do it.
Well, that's
Well,
another
now
thing
you
you can do.
can.
You get an accountability partner, get somebody to go door knocking with you
Be
that has
better
done
with
it before.
somebody. Yeah, at the beginning, first day or two,
Yeah.
I could tag along. I could ask one of my friends to come with me and then just do it. Yeah, that's good information. So we don't do pizza anymore.
Nope.
My only thing on flyers, don't just print on one side. There's a whole other side. Keller Mortgage, Keller Offers, there's things that you can put on the flyer too. Don't, that's like,
That's good
why would
idea.
you, that's like wasted space, so, download that flyer that's available online about, the mortgage, and put your contact information, because they could only get Keller Mortgage through a Keller Williams agent, right? So if they want to refi or purchase, have that information for them. So don't ever use both sides.
Yes.
Blank piece of paper.
Yes. Good idea. And have my beautiful face
Of course, of course.
in both sides. Okay.
Anything
thank you
else,
very much.
anybody? Are we good? Now we're really good. Denise, you have a question or anything?
No, not today, but I did absorb what you were
Oh,
explaining.
good.
Yeah.
Elaine's okay. Linda, you anything else, Linda? You're like you made me think about it. 4,000 phone calls, right?
And, for door
Thank you, Donna.
knocking,
This was really good.
Good.
for door knocking, I should knock at least 100 doors, an average of 10 face-to-face contact, right?
If your goal should be 100 contacts, right?
Well,
mean,
yeah, yeah.
Don't just say 10. You're gonna knock on 100 doors. I want to talk to 100 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now with networking events coming back and things like that, right? We'll be able to have more face-to-face and more face-to-face conversation. Yay. Okay.
And I don't know if anybody's doing tour on Thursdays. Renee, do you know anybody's touring? I posted on Facebook or our group coaching. Nobody hooked up with me. I wanted to carpool with the
Well,
other.
it's still early. People are still getting used to the fact that the homes are open and that, so
I mean,
hang
last
tight.
time we were doing 4 of us in the same car.
Hang
We
tight.
were touring.
It'll
Hang
come.
tight.
It'll come. It'll
Yeah.
come. It'll get back to normal.
Yeah.
Okay. Yay, 45 minutes back. So go prospect.
Okay, great.
Okay, thanks everybody.
you.
I really
Thank you,
appreciate it.
Donna.
Have a
Thanks.
Great day.
Bye.